can audiences expect to see when they come to see this show, which is set in a real-life location in Sheffield?
Audiences get a window into a world. It's 3 different sets of inhabitants in this one flat over a period of 70 years in Sheffield. But what we've discovered by doing the show in London first at the National and now here is that although you learn a lot about Sheffield the city and Sheffield the people, actually what's really extraordinary about Chris Bush's writing and Richard Hawley's songs is that they find a universal quality, and it resonates for audiences wherever they're from.
And would I be right in saying that it's a bit of a theme running through this show, that the actual location, which is this particular building set in Sheffield, is itself a bit of a character because it affects everyone who lives there?
Yeah, completely. And we actually did a field trip, didn't we, during rehearsals. And, it's all very well to look at it from afar. Most people, that live in Sheffield, they know it and they walk past it every day. But when you actually go into the estate, it has this just quite dramatic and sort of real community feel about it. You instantly understand why, you would fall in love with it. I play Poppy, and when we first meet her, she's just moving into the flat, the newly renovated, redeveloped estate. She's one of the first people to move in. And so we sort of meet her and quite immediately realise that there's a bit of baggage that she's bringing with her, that she's probably escaping from something, which she is. She's a bit... she's quite sad emotionally from a breakup. And then we watch her as she tries to fit into this community. She wants to belong somewhere. She moves here and she wants to find a community. She wants to become a better person. And we just sort of slowly watch her grow throughout the show and find herself.
So my character Marcus doesn't live in the flats, but we are work colleagues. So Poppy's come up from London and has started a new job at a firm, and I work there as well. None of which you see in the show, but that's our kind of backstory. And then, I feel like Marcus is just a kind of good egg, and he recognises that this girl who's come up, woman, sorry, is maybe in need of a friend, and I think he kind of reaches out to her and suggests that they get together. And then, so the first time you see Marcus as a character is when he comes around for dinner at Poppy's house.
Well, it tells the story of a building, but more importantly, it tells the story of the people who've lived in that building. And we start in the 1960s, where a young steel worker and his wife have got the keys to a flat in this brand new development. It's a bit of an experiment in the UK. It's one of the first kind of streets in the sky social housing projects. Great big brutalist building still sitting on a hill in Sheffield to this day, and it was very controversial when they first moved in, but it was also it gave incredible hope and pride to the first inhabitants, and over the course of the show and over the course of the subsequent decades, what happened to that dream and to those hopes as they hit up against the industrial strife of the 1970s, the challenges of the 1980s, and then the building was eventually fell into disrepair and then closed, and was then redeveloped and reopened with private money. You can sort of trace a narrative that is specific not just to Sheffield, but is relevant to so many of our cities and so many of our communities across the country.
Do you know how to kill loneliness at last? Oh, there's so much yet to heal, dear, and make tear stains of the past. But do you know that tonight the streets are...
As an audience member, you sort of see yourself in one or maybe a few of these characters. And sometimes I think there is nothing better than when you're sat in an audience watching yourself reflected back at you.
What do you see of yourself in your character?
Oh, way too much, probably.
Well, Poppy's character, Laura's character, gets loads more, has tended to get more laughs in London than in Sheffield, in just some of the things that she says and does, because I think a London audience recognises themselves more in Poppy's character than they did up in Sheffield.
So your character is a bit of a London character.
Well, she is very much. She's moved up from.
She's quite posh,
she's,
isn't
yeah,
she?
she's quite posh, and she loves a bit of ottolenghi,
Ocado.
all the buzzwords.
Do you find that because this is about Sheffield and it's been performed in Sheffield and London, do audiences in the respective cities react to it differently in any way?
There are definitely some local references that get a big response in Sheffield just because people recognise it. But everyone can understand the rivalry between two home football teams. Everyone can understand the pride and the raised eyebrow, mention of a particular nightclub or a particular area of the city. What unites audiences, I think, is the joy of this incredible songs, the fantastic choreography, the emotional journeys that these characters go on together, and the relationships that they form.